Alright, what's going on? We're playing some Magic the Gathering Arena. That there arena. We are playing against some dude named Zorak with our horrifying combo deck. And yeah, this deck's pretty crazy. So one of the things about this deck is that you wouldn't think it's an infinite combo deck, but it's an infinite combo deck to a degree, in like a way. I'll explain as we get there. This deck is built around the One Ring, things that can untap the One Ring, things that can untap the creatures that untap the One Ring, and Oracle of the Alpha, because it puts Power 9 inside your deck. Now, we've already got the One Ring in play, which is really good. Yep. We got our land drop off the top of the deck, which is insane luck. It doesn't let us just play one Oracle of the Alpha, it lets us play both of them. Now, my reasoning for that is, well, if one gets burned, you're still good to go. Now, fortunately for me, I don't believe this happens. Instead, Oracle of the Alpha delivers and gives us Black Lotus right off the top of the deck. Utterly ridiculous. Alright? And then you play the One Ring. Excuse me. Indigestion. And, yep. Pretty darn ridiculous right there. Look at that. Now you're thinking, oh, that's not that good. Well, wait till I get a card that allows for me to do some pure tomfoolery. Now it's my turn again, right? We top deck the One Ring, which is really lucky, right? Like, I'll be the first to admit that it's just simply lucky. I'm weighing the pros and cons, but I end up playing Forensic Researcher because it's just so very good. And then you tear asunder the equipment, and then you level out the playing field to essentially make it so all four of those creatures can be blocked without losing any of my dudes. And he'd lose 3 of his, which is not viable for them. So Zorak does not attack me, right? Leading me to get my turn, which is like, hell yeah, right? We drop our land for the turn. We finally got a green source that doesn't burn us, and it's not a creature, you know? Always nice. Now, that's where things like Shore Up come in handy. You play those cards and it untaps, and it gets you exactly what you need, exactly when you need it. Now, right now, I'm weighing the pros and cons, right? Of like, is it worth it? Is this worth it? And I figure, no, it's not worth it to draw more cards now. What you want to do is you want to play another ring, and then discard a couple of lands, because, geez, and look at that. The One Ring right at the top. We're going to leave that right where it is, because it's insanely lucky, but it doesn't mean that this deck isn't very good. Now, even without this luck, I would simply just, like I did last turn, draw 5 cards. And it's likely the reason that card's even there to begin with is because, well, I just drew a trillion cards, you know? Now, we hit that land drop for the turn. I'm weighing it, and I end up going for a Forensic Researcher because the future is bright when you can untap more than once. Well, how about thrice? Now I'm looking at it like, okay, I can assemble the team and maybe get a mana dork, right? Well, it doesn't happen. So what we end up doing is playing Black Lotus to get that mana, and then you play Lorith of the Healing House, which is another dude that untaps, well, I shouldn't say dude, dudette in this case. And her job is also to untap the One Ring, which, pretty crazy when you think about it. So, all of this works synergistically in a way that's, like, kind of ridiculous. Like, it's weird when you look at the list and to see, like, the synergy and the way that it all works. But once you see it in action, like, once it's in motion and it's working, it's pretty ridiculous. Now, this originally was a deck that I had built, there's another dude that untapped the One Ring, and there was a dude called Triskaidekaphile that made it so I would win the game if I had 13 cards in my hand. And that was what the deck was around. And then I realized, wow, Oracle of the Alpha is pretty crazy. So we're going to Time Walk, which is ridiculous. Then we're going to draw. And the reason we're doing all of this is because it doesn't really matter. We have the Time Walk. We don't have to play another One Ring. We could just build the battlefield. And next turn, we can draw an obscene amount of cards. Because we'll be just completely doing it differently. For all intents and purposes. Yup. And there we go. That's the end. He just had enough. That's all he could take, and he won't take anymore. And that's that. Now, in this video, I went to the wrong deck first. I went to, like, the deck that I use for when I'm playing. This is the historic version of the deck. It's barely different. The only difference is that I run Parallel Lives and 2 extra copies of Diplomacy. And I, what do I run less of? I run 1 less Delighted Halfling, and I think I run less Land, strangely enough. Yeah, it's right here where I look at Parallel Lives, and I'm like, oh, that is the wrong deck for sure. This is the correct deck. This one right here. And this is the list. Definitively, this is the list. I saw a similar list on Reddit and was like, wow, that looks pretty silly. And I just figured, why wouldn't I do that? Like, you know, you've got mana dorks that make it so you get your mana where you need it to be and the right color it needs to be. And you didn't really see it, but Vesuvian Diplomacy makes it so you can copy all your dudes and, like, offer the shore up in the Stony Strand